to thee with loyal hearts we raise our cheer.
I wanted to come to Westover because I came here on a rainy day in the spring about this time, and I had never seen a place so beautiful and luminous, and I wanted to make this my place.
Coming to the school was not a choice. It was just my mother came to the school, my sister came to the school, relatives, cousins, and it was just something I would do when I was 13 or 14.
I didn't plan to go. My best friend told me in 8th grade, we had been together since preschool, that she was going to Laurelton Hall, and I was like, all right, then I'm going to Laurelton Hall too. We're going to be together. This is our thing. And I went and toured there, and my parents were like, okay, you need to have choices. You can't just go to one place and decide. So they sent me over to Westover. And I remember I took the tour, and there was such a huge focus on the arts department and the photography lab and just like how well supported that was. And I always loved art and taking pictures. And I remember like getting home and thinking like, art that's well supported, nuns, I think I'll go to Westover. That's a good choice.
I applied to 8 other boarding schools. Westover was my only all-girls school, and I told my dad there was no way he shouldn't even consider me going there because I won't. But as soon as I stepped on campus and talked to all the girls and had my tour and my interview, I knew that Westover was the place I needed to be.
I went to see a lot of schools in New England and one in down called Foxcroft down south, and I said, well, I guess I like Foxcroft best. And so I was all signed up to go there when a friend, I can think of a girlfriend of mine, Josie Pepper, wrote me a note saying, before you go to that military academy, you got to come here and have a look, which I did. And I had that same experience of walking in the front door and saying, yeah.
I was the fourth of 4 children, and they had all gone to boarding school, and I knew that was also my fate. My sister had also come here. But my siblings are much older than I was, it was written on the wall, and so it was never even a discussion. I just knew that was, from birth, I was coming here.
It was a really tough decision for me, but ultimately I decided that coming to Westover meant that I could have 4 years to grow into myself and not have any of these other preconceived ideas of who I was from going to the same elementary through middle school for 9 years and being at a place that I'd known my whole life. It was like a fresh start for me, and it really has been.
My mother was class of 1945, and her 2 older sisters were Westover alumni of classes 35 and class of 33. And then I also have 2 first cousins that came here in the 60s. So growing up, I heard about Westover over and over and over again, and just the great stories and memories that all my family had. So my mother and I did go and look at other schools, but as Chris said, walking through the front door of Westover, just you got this awesome feeling of comfort and just sort of coming home in a way to a school. And so that's why I chose Westover over the other 3 or 4 schools I looked at.
It's actually a funny story because when I started applying to boarding schools, I knew in my heart that I was not going to an all-girls school. It was completely out of the question. You couldn't, my mom could not even convince me to go. So I actually set up Westover as my first tour and interview as my practice one because I knew that I wasn't going here. And then I came to Westover and I had the best experience. After visiting 8 other boarding schools, I knew that this school was the place for me. So.
I was the only person in my family to go to boarding school. 4 of my grandparents are immigrants, so this was a very new venture. And I went and saw, I knew it would be an all-girls school, and I told my mother when I was 12 I was going. I think she was not sure what that meant, but she went along with it, and I went and saw Ethel Walker's, Miss Porter's, here, and one other school, I can't remember it, Sacred Heart something. And Westover just, the feeling when you walk in the building is so different from other schools. There's no getting away from it. I still get this feeling today when I walk in.
My mother was class of 24. My sister was class of 52, and I actually thought everybody went to Westover in the 10th grade. I didn't know I had no option. It was just where I was going.
I went to Chase Collegiate School for elementary school, and every day on my way to school, I would drive by Westover, and the first thing that caught my 10-year-old attention was the yellow, and I saw it and I thought, that's so cool, what is that? And then I found out it was a school, and I was like, I want to go to a school that's yellow. That sounds so awesome. And then I actually looked at Westover when I was a little older, and I was so impressed by the women I met here. I'm a very strong feminist, and I really believe in an all-women community. That's why I'm going to Bryn Mawr College. I really believe that girls are so much stronger and better together, and I love the community when I walked in.
One of my favorite teachers was Allie Hildebrand. She teaches art history, and art history is required. You have a required part of the Westover curriculum. You have to take one term of it. But she's so passionate about her subject. It really makes every student passionate about the subject, and I think that's a really important quality for a teacher to have. And I'm just so grateful to have had her as a teacher. She's made me a better student.
I loved Miss Newton. She was the cat's meow as far as knowledge and just getting your interest in reading and all these novels and everything. And she was you were a little bit terrified with her, but looking back on it, she gave so much to all of us.
Sophomore year, I took medieval history with Kit Cook, and I remember also reading a book in her class. It's by Josephine Tay. It's called Daughter of Time, and it was the story of Richard II, the Princes in the Tower, and we put him on trial, and that was amazing. And it was even before we learned that people learn different ways. It's not necessarily that you sit in a class and raise your hand and take notes, but to be able to act this out. Somebody was Richard, somebody was the judge, somebody was the jury, somebody was the prosecutor. It just history come to life, and it was magical to me.
I'll just go off and talk about Mr. Hungerford. He's like the best. He's really helped me grow as like a person, as a writer, and as a just overall like grammarian for grammar and stuff. Like I pretty much was hopeless before when I was in a class with the stern teacher. I kept getting 20s on everything, and I thought I wouldn't succeed in anything. And then I had Mr. Hungerford as a teacher, and he taught me that like I'm not, like, there is hope. And now I'm like, I get A's in English, and it's like all okay now because he didn't give up on me even when I came to him with D's. So yeah.
Mr. Gallagher.
Fantastic Impossible Future.
I think that Mr. Gallagher for me especially, he made such a positive impact in my life. I know I was saying to him earlier today that when I would walk down those stairs, I felt extraordinary, and it was the only time where I could, or the only place on this campus where I could go and felt like I shined. And he made me feel like that, but talking to my classmates, he made everybody feel like that. So he had such a gift of believing in me, us, whatever, and
he still does, 25 years later.
Yes.
He remembers all of our names.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he would talk to me today about a photograph that I took, or somebody else took 25 years ago that I was in, and just remembered it exactly. So it just, so special.
Community service was definitely my favorite, and I went on the Kentucky trip twice, so that was life-changing for me, and it really opened my eyes to how, I know it sounds a little cheesy, but how lucky we are to have what we have here, because a lot of the children, or I guess teenagers, that are my age down there, they don't have the opportunities. Most of them are already, had dropped out of high school. Some of them are already parents, and I realized how lucky I was to be in Westover's community, and it really provides, a safe place for us to learn and grow as students.
Mrs. Rothman, I think, changed my life. I had her for 4 years of French, including AP my senior year, and 2 varsity sports. I played field hockey and lacrosse for her. I carried French and field hockey and lacrosse through college, and eventually also studied at the French Culinary Institute. She was one of the toughest and most inspirational teachers I ever had, and she was just awesome. I loved her.
I love Joe's English electives and Tom Javon's English classes. Like, Tom Javon is the best English teacher. And so is Joe. Like, I don't want to say one is better than the other, but, like, no, Tom's classes are just amazing. Like, I took his Faulkner elective in the fall, and it was just so great. And, yeah, I also took his Shakespeare. Actually, while I was in France, I did kind of, like, this independent Shakespeare study thing, and with him, and it was just so great. I just like his, like, discussion-based classes.
My favorite teacher was Ann Polina. I met Ann my junior year in Algebra 2. And I had a little trouble with Algebra 1. But sitting in Ann Polina's Algebra 2 class, I sat right in front of her, and at the end of the first class that I had with her, I went up and I said, Ann, I really didn't pass Algebra 1. I struggled mightily. So I'd like to set up a permanent conference time with you because I'm going to have trouble with Algebra 2. And Anne, being Anne, said, well, in the beginning it's just a little bit of review, so just, hang tight. We don't have to set up this permanent conference time yet, and just let me know when you start to feel things slipping. And so we went merrily along, and about 6 weeks into the trimester, she stopped and said, so I just want to check in with you, and how are things going? How are you feeling about what we're doing? And I said, this fine. When are we getting to the new stuff? And she said, yeah, well, we started the new stuff about 5 weeks ago. And I was like, okay then. So I think we don't have to have the permanent conference time. But she changed my whole outlook on math and on many other things as well.
Because I'm interested in studying environmental science in college, one of kind of the most exciting classes was geology for me with Alice Halloran, who, although she's retired, came back and taught this class about rocks, and I was like, I'll take it, and it was the best thing ever. I mean, she made rocks like these living things, and we went on these field trips everywhere, and it was just the craziest, funnest class I've taken.
So when I came here, art was important to me, and there was a wonderful teacher named Ethel Swantes that maybe not has been mentioned. She was quiet and she was wonderful, but the art studio was just beautiful. It had huge windows and light coming in, and statues and busts that we could draw, and there was something old-fashioned and modern about it at the same time.
There's not like one teacher that's like really been like my favorite. I think all of my teachers have been really amazing. Sarkis in the math department is a rock star. He's amazing. I love him. He made calculus cool, which is amazing.
That's important.
But like, Catherine Albee, my advisor, my Latin teacher, she's super amazing. She's really engaging in the classroom. But then like all the English teachers are super cool too. And Kay Sabith and like everyone really is amazing. So it's hard to pick just one.
I have to add that what I learned from this place was music, and I've kept it up since being here. I joined the Undertones a cappella group when they first started. Helen Tyson I knew from Philadelphia, and she asked me if I'd join. And I've been singing a cappella ever since. And it's all from knowing all the hymns and all the words of every hymn I ever go into, a church service, a funeral, a wedding. I know all the music. It's just been, my whole life has been this wonderful music that we got here.
Latin for me, definitely. Catherine Albee was an amazing teacher and is an amazing teacher. Actually, I'm going on to study classics in college, and she inspired me to go do that. I'm really, really excited. I love the language. I love connecting the words and the history to today, and just reading and learning about it is just so amazing.
The other teacher who was fantastic was Miss Bartlett. I used to take, in my senior year, I took a theory of music class, and we used to go to some little rehearsal room up on the third floor somewhere, and we would make music, we would create music. It was so much fun. It was like the best start of any day you could imagine.
When I first came here, I was really into math, but as math got harder, I was like, maybe this is not something I'm really meant to. But senior year, I took electrical engineering, part of the WISE program, just to take the class, and it was so interesting. I was like, whoa. It was awesome. So I think I like the electrical engineering side of it. But yeah.
I love to read and I love to write, and Seamus taught me that I could write, and he taught me to love literature. I still remember the reverent way that he would read passages. I remember him putting Dylan Thomas, it was a record on the record player of Dylan Thomas reading his own poetry. And there's just those moments of incredible beauty in his class. And I saw through all his antics to that person who loved language and literature.
My favorite, definitely, I took it my junior year with Paul McCullough, and it was Plato's Republic. And when I figured out I was in that class, I was livid. I am not a philosophy type girl. I don't like questioning things. I love science. I just want everything to be how it is. But when I sat down that first day in the class and he said, this is going to get bad. He said, this is going to get depressing, and then it's going to get really, really good. And you just question life, existence, why anyone does anything. And when you find the reason in it, I think everyone takes the class a different way, but I took it very personally. And I can genuinely say that class changed me as a person. I had a better outlook on people and how they act towards others and what they go through. And I don't know, it was just an amazing class.
I was deathly afraid of Bruce Coffin, but I really liked him. And my favorite experience was reading Crime and Punishment and understanding really how literature worked for the first time. And I remember sitting in my room and going, oh, symbolism.
I think my favorite tradition was the lantern service. There was some sort of magical feeling about walking across the field with some of the lanterns lit, some of the lanterns not lit, coming back all together with all of them lit. It just made you feel very special,
My favorite tradition actually is Orchard. I love seeing the seniors in all their cultural attire, and even if they're not, everyone looks so beautiful, and then the student given awards, I think that also takes a part in our community. The students give those awards to other students, and they put thought into it, and they are giving the awards to students who might not get the recognition that they deserve every single day of the year, but those are the students that people voted for, and we look at them and we see Westover in those specific students. And there are other girls who could have won the awards, but I just love Orchard as a ceremony. I love all of us being out in Senior Garden, and everything looks beautiful. So
the tradition that was the most meaningful to me emotionally, I think I only experienced 1 year, but if you happen to be here during Easter, and it was a secret ceremony that you didn't know about, and I believe it was my sophomore year, the seniors would all go through the corridors about 5 a.m. with their lanterns and singing the Easter hymns, and you would wake up with this beautiful singing and not know. It was very, very beautiful and a very nice tradition that I hope they've continued, actually.
For me, it's definitely candlelight. I'm a Glee Club member, and that was the first time that I really felt a part of a community when the lights went down and the candles were lit and we started singing "Oh Holy Night," and it was just the most amazing moment ever. We just became so close, and I've never experienced anything like that before, but it's so beautiful.
I think the Germans, the Westover Germans,
those were about the funniest things.
They were so much fun to do, and as a group to come together, really with no teachers around. We were in charge.
That's right.
Of a theater production, singing, dancing, horrific costumes, bad backdrops. I thought they were the most fun. Just a lot of effort together. And we'd even help. We're both West. You're West, right?
Yes. I was in your Germans.
Okay. You were a Kiss.
I was a Kiss. What was that? Was that Sleeping Beauty or Prince
Charming? Yeah. But we even helped the Overs out. We'd go and help because it was fun. It was fun to hang out together and do it all.
Yeah, endless hours of making costumes and learning songs, writing the lyrics, and dances. Learning the dances.
The dances. Oh my God.
Very, very fun.
I think Lantern's the most beautiful tradition, but I think kind of an overall tradition is West and Over, is because there's that great thing that connects alums and families. So my mom and my two older sisters are both Over, so I chose to be an Over, and that kind of connects us in that thing because we know all the same songs and cheers. So I think it's really cute.
I didn't actually graduate here. I had moved on mid-junior year to another school nearby that never meant anything to me the way that Westover does. And it's amazing to me. I'm sorry. How much Westover has really stayed with me and meant this whole time. I remember my dreams a lot. It's a little bit unusual, one of my quirks, and but they're all, irregular, and but there's one reoccurring dream, and the reoccurring dream is that I come back, and I'm allowed to finish school. And it's always a relief in the dream. Like, I can do it this time. I can do it. I'm gonna be here and everything's gonna be just fine. Wait, I'm too old for this. I'm too old to be here. And everyone's gonna look at me really crazy. But then I just keep going. And I'm so happy in the dream to be back and to finally finish. But of course, then it's just a dream. But
I value the all-girls education beyond anything, because I think that I learned how to bond with women and connect with women in a way that's never left me. I value my women friends so much. And I also developed an unshakable belief that it didn't matter what gender I was, that I could do anything that, I set out to do. That was just in the water here. And so that's never left me. And I see young women struggle with identity in co-ed environments, and I feel like if I could just take you out and put you in an all-girls environment that was as supportive as Westover, you wouldn't have to have these struggles.
Our friendships that we made. I mean, you're growing up at such a young age with all of us together in one space, and you really know each other's ins and outs. And it makes it really special to grow up at that tender age and have all this support. Everybody's like, we're one big family. Mm-hmm. It's a unique place for sure.
I think that we formed some great friendships in our class. I think we were a very diverse class, which has helped us all for a long time.
Yeah, I would agree with Marcy. It's the friendships that the most important part to me.
When we were here, Westover is like a parent to us. As we go away from Westover and we return, I think I feel more protective. I feel like I want to parent Westover. I want to take care of Westover. I want to help contribute to the annual fund, for example, because I want it to be for other people. And every time we come back and it looks better, which is just amazing. So I would like to help keep that going.
The introduction of key cards and kind of security into Westover. I know everyone was really scared, and I know alumni had talked to us about it, saying that they were they were totally against it. I mean, they understood the reasons, but just that the privacy and the honor system kind of at Westover. But I feel like I can say that the community hasn't really changed because of it.
But as my life moved on, I became aware that the school that I had known, I thought, was very elitist and not racist, but very elitist. There were no Catholics, no Jews, and no Hispanics, and no African Americans in 1946 and 47. I was only here 2 years. And so for me, the experience was 50 years on, being encouraged by Anita Packard, Montgomery, to come back for my 50th reunion and to realize the school was just a totally different place. The academics were still superb, maybe even better, but the school was a very different place.
I think the biggest blow to our class this year and the school in a general sense was the loss of Miss Polina. I think that's pretty historic.
Yeah.
We talk about her still, like, probably every day.
Every day, yeah.
She's just the heart of all of us and the heart of the school. I actually went out to coffee with Joe Dexter this morning, one of the English teachers, and we talked for about an hour just about how Mrs. Polina was the heart in the community and the family, and I don't know, I think that was really tough for our class, but we're super close.
Yeah.
So we all could be there for one another, and I just thought that was really special.
I'm going to Wheaton College in Massachusetts.
I'm going to Ithaca College in New York.
5 hours apart.
Yeah.
No.
Raise now to Westover, voices loud and clear, to do thee with loyal hearts we raise our cheer. Raise to the skies above and praise the school we love. Westover forevermore we sing to thee. Now,
As in years to come,
our thoughts will be of Westover, and our years spent with thee. Our motto evermore, to think, to do, to be. Westover forevermore we sing to thee.